Pesticides are chemical compounds that are used to control life forms that are considered pests, such as insects, weeds, rodents, or fungi. Pesticides are most commonly used for crop protection and vector control, which are beneficial for preventing agricultural losses and vector-borne diseases. It is also important to consider the costs of using pesticides. There are negative health and environmental effects caused by pesticides. There have been acute and delayed health effects in humans, and spray insecticides also transmit chemicals into the air, water, and soil, which contaminates and harms the environment. Group 18 will be focusing on how pesticides harm beneficial pollinators, specifically bees. A One Health approach is necessary to solving this problem since all three branches of the triad are involved. We took an approach to reach out to 3 target audiences that would result in a top-down approach.
With the first target audience, government officials and agencies, we wanted to adopt a bottom-up marketing approach that would result in a top-down effect that would help prevent the use of harmful pesticides. The strategy for this particular group of stakeholders would be to force them to enact different laws and regulations that will help reduce the amount of pesticides being used that can be harmful to different insects and animals, particularly with regards to honeybees and colony collapse disorder. In order to ensure that, we would need to form a lobbying group consisting of nonprofit leaders, community leaders, and other advocates that would help challenge the use of dangerous pesticides and would advocate for the use of safer ones. One such example of a regulation to persuade use of safer pesticides is government subsidies that would subsidize safer and cheaper pesticides for companies to use.
Some of the roadblocks we might encounter in a top-down approach is the lobbying groups of people from big agricultures and chemical companies. Each year they give huge donations to the government, and many of the times the governments will stay out of their business and will let them use these dangerous pesticides. Companies such as Monsanto, Syngenta, and Dow Chemical will push for the usage of unsafe pesticides, knowing that it can have a long-term effect on farm workers and many animals because it is a business to them and it brings big revenue every year. We can tackle this problem by gathering influencers such as researchers from big universities like UC Davis, nonprofits, and farm workers that can challenge these lobbying groups by bringing the attentions to state officials and some of the harmful pesticides and persuade them that there are safer pesticides out there that can be used without having to hurt the triad group. This would put necessary pressure on state officials and would make them regulate these chemical companies and make them use safer pesticides products.
The second target audience, corporations and large farm holders, would be the next group to work on. The main focus would be to get these companies to use safer alternatives to the harmful pesticides they are currently using. In order for this strategy to work, our tactic would be to offer government subsidies to companies willing to use these alternatives, which would in return lower the cost and make the offer more enticing. With this approach, certain problems may arise, such as chemical companies creating their own trademarked pesticides that wouldn't be allowed to be subsidized by the government. A solution to this problem would be to have direct negotiations with the company to allow for a subsidized version of the product. Another solution would be to negotiate for a subsidized pesticide from a competitor to ensure no harmful pesticides are used that may lead to the plight of the honeybees.
With the third target audience, community members and general society, the strategy for this audience will be to provide education and awareness about the negative health effects and environmental effects caused by pesticides. In addition, the harmful effects on insects like the honeybees and their importance and benefit with regards to agriculture. To tackle this approach, we can use a grassroots movement strategies to bring awareness in communities. We can create workshops, information sessions in communities, schools, garden clubs, environmental interest groups, local businesses, and programs like the UC Master Gardeners Program, hosting events and seminars that have a focus on pesticides and our fight for honeybees, outreach in social media, advertisements, information flyers. Once our movement has increased, there can be partnership with supportive organizations.
One roadblock we might find is that people may not understand they are harming pollinators by spraying pesticides. Due to product loyalty, people may have difficulty switching to safer products. Education on pesticide use is important to assure beneficial insects like honeybees are not harmed. Spraying pesticides and fungicides are detrimental to pollinators and the environment. Insecticides are compromising the bees' immune systems and their ability to fight off harmful parasites. This situation is leading to colony collapse disorder. Lobbying government officials to enact laws that prevent the use of harmful pesticides is essential for the health and safety of beneficial pollinators. Working with government officials agrochemical companies, and local stakeholders to reduce the use of harmful pesticides will offer a One Health approach to solving the problem. Thank you.